I don't know how WWE could really think that this is helping. I don't think I can't say helping his career, but I don't think it's making. I don't even know how the right way to put it. It's not furthering his career in a positive note. I think it's getting pretty obvious that it's not just the kids that are just not into John Cena. Somebody's got to be here. This can't be blah, 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 blah. This can't be Hogan versus Warrior, where you have two faces and everybody cheers for both sides. Somebody has to be a clear-cut heel. Somebody has to be a clear-cut face, and it's pretty obvious who is the heel and who is the face. And are they going to turn John Cena heel? I doubt it. But it just really gets under my skin that whenever the fans really shit on John Cena, he comes back with this line, "Oh, that's what I love, the passion of the universe." Blah 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 blah. Sucks.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that John Cena, who, like I said, when you watch his stuff from a few years ago, it's unbelievable that he has digressed, not progressed at all. He's digressed because his promo ability, like I said, when he was cutting the promo at WrestleMania in Seattle, when he came on stage and he dissed all those guys, then even when he was the brief time he was with B Squared, Bo Buchanan, he was funny. He was he had it. He had that hit factor when he would insult Kurt Angle. I don't know how it's gotten to this point. It's not because he's obviously he's a watered down babyface, but he's just it's beyond. I thought Hogan was corny. I thought Hogan was white bread, corny, kind of really out of touch. Before vitamins and drink your milk and stuff was passe, Hogan was corny in '87, '88. I mean, that act had gone tired, in my opinion. Hogan was just larger than life, and he managed to hang on a lot longer to be in the top spot in the title than he really should have, to be honest with you. They should have gave Randy a few more runs than they gave Warrior. Should have got another run as a world champion. There was a few mistakes, I think, made with Hogan, but Hogan was such a marquee name. And now John Cena is this version 20 years later. He's just bland as shit. He really is. And last night, he was just squashed beyond belief. He looked terrible in the ring. I don't know if it was even really orchestrated for it to go down that badly the way he was received, but it looked horrible on TV, and I heard it was even worse in the arena.
What sucks even more, and you could tell by the work rate of almost every single person that worked that show, whether you liked some matches or not. I mean, just rewind and watch the main event match again. You see The Rock, even with his little pinning combination over there that was just so smooth and everything was just flowing so natural. And then you tag in Cena, and Cena does the same bullshit shoulder block, the same bland bullshit. The same bland bullshit.
And his promos, it would be different if, like I said, Hogan was larger than life. His promos, it was repetitive, and the brother and the cup in the air and stuff. But that was also a different time. And then you had other guys who had, like I said, the gimmicks and the shtick that they put on where Flair with his woo, that just seems to never grow tired. Everyone still likes doing that. But John Cena, it seems like he's been around 20 years with this act already, and it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 10 years in, and he's 7 years in major push, with his first year being, mid-Carter, second year he got the rap gimmick, and then held that for about a year and a half, and that was his best stuff. Basically his second and third season, let's call it, like he's an athlete. His sophomore and junior year, let's call it, were his best times, in my opinion. Then he turned face, which was okay, and then what this version is, I mean, it's so funny what John Cena was doing, the embarrassed thing of B Squared last week, that was embarrassing back then. John, we wish you would go back to that at this point. Really. I mean, I think everyone would like to see Thugonomics at this point.
And not only that, if the fans were not so non-receptive to B Squared being back, I don't think that comment would have even been said. It's very bland. It's very played out. And, I know it's all about the kids and everything like that, but, John Cena can sort of turn heel but still be for the kids. I mean, that's, he's got to turn around and, talk back at the people that are booing his ass. It's not passion. And the thing that annoys me, and I know I've said it 1,000 times over the years, but I'll say it one more time again, being booed out of the building like this, the one thing I can't stand more than anything else is when WWE announcers call him the most controversial champion of all time.
Yeah, that's not controversial. It's fucking hated.
Yeah,
it's a difference.
It's annoying. It's not controversial. I mean, that getting booed out of the building is not controversial. You know,
no, it's not. It means popularity weaning. It has been, and now it's in the major arena where a lot of things are really regarded. It's just a bad scene for him. Now people can say, and I went to the Garden when Michaels was champion. I do recall Shawn Michaels during his sexy boy toy thing when he first turned face, getting booed a lot, but nothing like Cena. Someone was writing something about that today. I don't know who, in an article somewhere I was reading online, about Shawn Michaels went through the same thing. Not exactly. I went to about 12 Garden cards that year. I mean, literally every month when they had it in the mid-'90s. And no, it wasn't the same thing. And that was on the verge of the Attitude Era. This is much worse. And I think the stakes are a lot higher now, in my opinion.
And it wasn't this. It was never the same towards anybody in the past. Even when Eddie Guerrero, when he was a heel, everybody used to chant "Eddie sucks." But the big,
I mean, Rocky sucks, and they showed the clip and everything. Even though it's funny because that clip, he was very over when he first debuted. He started to get Rocky sucks around the third pay-per-view in, but that debut, he was actually very over.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that when Eddie Guerrero was a heel and Rocky was a heel, and the fans used to boo them out of the building, they in turn dissed the crowd, which made them into even a bigger heel, and it just made the storyline. You wanted to see him get his ass kicked. We just don't want to see Cena on television, period. And it's a shame because the guy is the poster child for WWE. He obviously
and he could be, like I said, I mean, we thought at some point, they even made, Booker T went back to being G.I. Bro at one point. But, I mean, everyone goes back to an old gimmick. I mean, Owen Hart probably wishes he didn't go back to the Blue Blazer, but that's another story. But everyone always returns to an old gimmick, and I think eventually John Cena will do a Thugonomics thing. But at that point, I don't know if I don't even know if he'll have it to return to it. I don't know if, much like when we can, we'll flip to the other switch here, which a guy who still has it, quote unquote, is The Rock, where he's able to turn it on and be The Rock and be 7 years removed, be everything he was then and then more. I mean, I've never seen him more jacked up than Diesel, but he's not overly muscular like a Batista or something. He looks good. I think people are exaggerating the steroids. I'm not saying he's not on something. He probably is. But he looks in great shape. The guy's like fucking chiseled out. I've never seen him look so great. And he's on the cusp of 40 at this point.
Yeah.
So he looks better than ever. I wouldn't say he has all the time in the world to work out. The guy does movies. The guy was in like 22 movies in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know about all the time in the world, and that's why he looks so great. I think the guy just prides himself on looking good, and he is a movie star.
Yeah.
He is not a Hogan and the Nanny. He's a movie star, a mainstream movie star, which in wrestling we have never had. And Roddy Piper and Hogan don't count. This is the only guy we have as a movie star. John Cena is not a movie star either. Not in my opinion. In general, he's not a movie star.
No.
But like as Rock, on the other hand, like I said, had it just in droves, and it's just that confidence. And I think I don't know if it's an act, but John Cena sometimes looks like he's lacking confidence in the audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes when the camera pans back on him, he does that kind of sarcastic kind of jock thing where it's like, oh, they love me, and he has no comeback for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you notice, he really doesn't have a comeback much anymore. It's usually it's the same old promos, the same old, like we were saying earlier, oh, that's what I love about you guys, the passion. You could speak your mind, you could say whatever you. Fuck that.
I mean that's they never did that back in the day. It was like when a guy was getting booed. It's like, oh, now you don't like me, and he was starting to turn heel. You know what I mean? Back when Ric Flair was a babyface, or anytime there was a guy who was starting to get booed, he would be like, what are you booing me for? And question instead of like, oh, you guys have a right to do that. I never seen a babyface do that, except for John Cena. Yeah. I guess John Cena thinks, well, that's the cliche wrestler thing. I'm going to pretend I'm crazy like Ron Killings, and this booing me is going to so bother me that I'm going to start talking to myself and acting like Al Snow. But, I mean, at least pretend that what it does bother you. Actually put some realness in it and stop being such a smug asshole.
Yeah. What it comes down to is this. WWE got away with this for quite some time. It's getting to a point where they really can't get away with it much longer, and especially that they're doing a WrestleMania main event, which is going to sell a crazy amount of pay-per-view buys, probably break a record. It's going to be the storyline being, just look at it like this, and we'll move on. the storyline is going to really heat up between The Rock and John Cena to lead to this match. And so far, The Rock is owning John Cena. I mean, just totally owning him in promos, owning him in ability, owning him in what he did yesterday. And there has to be an edge added to John Cena to make us want to see them two go at it and kick each other's ass. Just selling it as the two biggest icons or whatever is just not going to cut it for a lot of people. It's got to go to a new dimension. Otherwise, Rock is just going to eat this guy alive, and it's going to really hurt the main event. It really is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You think last night, obviously they had to do something big for the 25th anniversary. It's the Garden, The Rock is over, and we'll talk about the other guy who won the crowd last night, who had the crowd, and it was a test, as I said, to go to a big city market and see if he had it, and he did.
Cody Rhodes?
That being, no, CM Punk. And it certainly wasn't Mark Henry. But I was going to say that, the thing with The Rock, though, is I think, you can put The Rock against anybody and they'll get over. It was like Ric Flair back in the NWA days. You go with Flair and you get credibility, whether you lose or you win, and you interact with him, you get pushed. But Cena, like I said, they're supposed to be the man, and he didn't look like the man with Rock, and you're right, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. It's not easily fixable because they only have a few months to do it. It's obvious Rock is going to be in the Royal Rumble, and I think they're going to bite off the Ultimate Warrior Hogan confrontation when those two were in the Royal Rumble. As you know, WWE does repeat history with gimmicks and angles, and I think they're going to do something like that where they'll crisscross into each other, or they'll, the face-off will come, and then Cena or Rock will get eliminated unjustly. Maybe Rock will turn heel at Royal Rumble.
I see that.
I doubt it because the
He's
crowd
too
is not going
over.
to boo. Because even if they turn Rock heel, the crowd's not going to go against them.
Right, and not only
So
that,
what's the point of that?
I'll even go one step further. If Rock turned heel, the crowd's not all of a sudden going to get behind Cena to kick the Rock's
Exactly, that's
ass.
what I'm saying. Now, like I said, I'm taking normal wrestling stuff out of this because any other angle with wrestling in either company, it works that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? But with Cena, it doesn't work that way. Anybody else you take, turn him face, whether it's Bobby Roode or whatever, put him in an angle, make him beat somebody down like badly, and then they'll get booed. That's usually the way it is, and it's not because it's like a gray area. It's obvious. There's heel and bad guys. Again, there's baby faces and heels. It's not gray area like Attitude Era. It is in some points. But like I said, CM Punk is a full-fledged babyface now. He's not a gray area babyface at all.
Right.
So I think it is good and bad guys again. But the problem is that Cena, and let's face it, those people who hate Cena drown out those kids and girls. They just drown them out.
Right.
They can't compete with the men booing Cena. Cena sucks. Last night at the Garden, you couldn't even hear. It was so faint, the support for Cena.
Yeah.
And you feel bad for the kids a little bit because you could actually see it upset some of them in the front row.
Yeah, and by the way,